culturally, we have been into what's called a village survival mode. Or another way to say that is basically saying the tribe mode. If you're part of a village or a tribe, which is where most people interact with each other, someone is on top, someone is at the bottom. So basically it means if I don't get along with the rest of the tribe, they could nick me. Do you understand that? Which is this whole system, caste system, that we have going. So are we at a particular point that we're moving beyond the caste system, where we're actually burning out our own fears, our own inadequacy, our own self-esteem as an individual? And are we actually getting to a particular point that the caste system of the tribe that says we must be A, B, C, D, and E, that we're actually moving beyond the caste system of a tribe? It's exactly what's happening. So God dwells within you, as you, for you, as you are God. But if we have been trying to do that from lifetime to lifetime, but we keep falling into the shame factor of a caste system, meaning a tribe, how do you? People that break the caste system and are certainly could be affected by, a corporation that says blah, 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 but moves through that, and he or she burns the shame of a caste system. The village, the aunts, the uncles, the brothers, the sisters, and we are no longer affected by the spoken words or the lack of words or the lack of Christmas cards or no Christmas cards or thank you or no thank you or looks. The entire caste system, if we can move beyond the entire perception, the way people relate to us, would we then free ourselves from the village and the behavior of the village? Would that mean there's nothing left but now to go back into the inner self and become Shiva? So if I am out here constantly responding, reacting to everything around me, including my thoughts, my feelings, and my emotions, I am acting out a tribe system or caste system. A culture can actually change. Small cultures can actually change. Charlene is an example of that, where someone can work out whatever fears or narcissism that they've been exposed to, or guilt or shame. We're living in a very narcissistic culture at this particular point. And we react to that narcissism. We're always trying to fix that. Like, we're always trying to overcompensate for the person that really projects their narcissistic behavior onto us. Do you understand that? We've always become really good at apologizing or feeling bad or feeling guilty or falling into. It's how government and everybody else plays. But what happens if we've just gone beyond that stuff and we're really tired of it ourselves, and we're realizing again that emotions are there to tell us what we're experiencing? Does that mean I'm changing the rules of my village or my tribe, and I'm actually realizing that this whole universe is there and designed for me, instead of I'm supposed to fit into the universe as a part of the tribe, which is how we have behaved from one incarnation to another? We're now saying, I am Shiva. I'm not saying I'm not going to bow to Shiva. I'm saying I am God. I am created by God. Prior to this, we couldn't even imagine saying that I was God. Now we're saying, you mean I can create my own world, and this universe is designed for me and for you, but your universe is different than mine, and your universe is different than in actuality. We don't have to have this concept that we all need to fit in this one Volkswagen bus that we've been trying to do for centuries. Do you understand that? So, the fastest way to get off this wheel of karma is to recognize not only your characteristics, how you behave in the jungle. How do you behave with your tribe? How do you behave with other people? Where do your strengths, weaknesses, insecurity, where does this come from? Where do you still interact on a tribal behavior? Now, this takes a little bit of time to figure out. And particularly when you're very close to someone and you love someone, of course, then that projection is even worse because you're really close to someone. But one of the things in which I looked at was, okay, so where does my behavior, where's my tribal behavior? How do I behave? I can change my behavior. I can change the way I relate to Bob. If Bob is a real, pickle, I can say, Bob, don't know what happened in your life, but you know what? You and I need to learn how to communicate differently because one of these days I just got to wrestle you to the ground because that's just what's going to happen, buddy. And he'll just go, ha, 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 ha. Bob changes. He'll never be the same. Can that work if I do not know my tribe behavior and I try to take that on with Bob? No, Bob is going to grind me into the ground. So is this more where if we shift within ourselves and we recognize this tribal behavior from my parents are narcissistic, or I felt rejected, or I felt, and I just began to recognize those aspects and start recognizing and learning how to behave differently, then I am able of changing a culture. I can change a culture in a corporation, I can change a culture, but first we need to define or recognize our own behavior. How do you behave when your mother-in-law comes? How do you, seriously, how do you behave when your brother shows up? How do you relate with your in-laws? It's a really good way. You can be just fine and you go home and you visit your brothers and your sister and you go, what the fuck? You revert to like a 2-year-old child. And you're thinking like, what? That is the prime example of where the behavior, because that karma of that family has that ingrained as well. And for some people, they've moved beyond that. So you write down what is your primitive, cultural, tribal behavior. All the things you like, dislikes, how you react, how you disreact, how you feel wounded, how you don't feel wounded, define them. It tells you your characteristics of your tribe. What it also tells you is what you learned yesterday, it is the 2-year-old response. It's not just your tribal response, it is the tribal response of your 2-year-old, which was what was in the video yesterday. That 2-year-old, you're defining what the 2-year-old is made of. What is she made of? Angry. She's an angry girl. Let's keep going.